Welcome everyone back to the Crimson 15 Podcast. I'm your host, Crimson Sin. Be sure to follow us over on Twitter at C15 Podcast. Join the discussion over on Discord, link in description below. And if you're enjoying the reviews, be sure to sub, like, share, and hit that bell for notifications. Podcast character designs done by Demon Artie. Follow her over on Twitter at Artie Demon. You're going to find some amazing artwork, fan art, originals, redesigns, just amazing stuff. So be sure to check her out and give her a like, a follow, and a retweet. Episode 2 of Carmen Sandiego, The Hot Rocks of Rio, Part 2. I forgot to say the title last time, but yeah, it's just as good as the first one. I like the first episode a little bit better, but this one it's the same formula. They spend little time on jokes and silly things, and everything's story driven, plot driven, and action driven. This is what you do. This is how you make a good show. And all those detractors that when I would do my videos on She-Ra, I'd watch all those reviews. It's a show for little kids. That's why it's stupid and silly, so it's okay. Well, this show's for children. It's a cartoon, and it doesn't do all the silly, stupid stuff. It's called because they actually care. When you actually give a crap, you actually get a good show. And when you just get people, storyboard artists, telling whatever dumb, problem they're having in their life, but on screen, that's when you get crappy shows. So that whole excuse that if it's a cartoon, it's to be stupid is null and void, because Carmen Sandiego shows you how you really do it. But enough with that, on to the actual episode. We open up right where the last one ended, where they captured Carmen and Shadowsan showed up. He's playing it up, I'm like, he's not. He's like, yes, you captured her, and the other head teachers know that I'm here. I had to stay in the shadows. They told us, he's playing it all up, and I caught her. I gave her a fake hard drive. They lead her here so we can capture her, and she believed everything I said. And like, well, what do you mean? Like, Carmen hated you back at school. How could you gain her trust? Oh, so simple. Just tell her everything she wanted to know. Just let her believe that I was helping her. Talked about her past, and you can actually see Carmen's like, oh, I can't believe he freaking played me. Like, it's like starting to like actually piss her off. He goes, yeah, I can't believe she believed me that it was Coach Brunt that found her in Moscow of all places. And she's like, what? But he kind of gives her that look like, okay, I'm on your side. I'm just doing this to, get them. Carmen, actually, she was actually pissed off before, but then she tries to like be fake angry. Oh, you'll never get away with this. Carmen, not the best actress. But, Shadowsan does it well. He's like, I already have. Super awesome. Then he's like, okay, I'm going to hand deliver her to, back to V.I.L.E, and I'll give her an appropriate punishment. More like they're going to just kill her. Like, why even keep her alive? Then he's like, I need to know where the drop-off is for all the Alexandrite. And Leshev, being the only one who's smart, he's like, wait a sec. He's like, if he's already been in contact with the other teachers, the other headmasters, he would know already. And then he's like, no, silence, you insolent fool. Just like,
if Shadowsan checked in with the others, he no doubt already knows the plan. Oh!
Enough of your insolence.
Like karate chops and knocks him out. And they're kind of scared of him because, yeah, he's a badass. And he's like, hey, tie him up for him being an insubordinate, questioning me. He's going to be punished. And I'm going to take Carmen back to V.I.L.E. They're walking down the hall, and then Carmen's like, hey, you let me down now. And he's like, oh, yeah, sorry. He puts her down. And they it's Tigress and Mulder. They contact the council. And she's like, oh, yeah, we got the Alexandrite's on its way. And we got another package. We got Carmen Sandiego. They're like, oh, wow. And she's like, yeah, Shadowsan showed up to pick her up. And they're like, huh? Yeah, he was here. And, he said he talked to you guys. And they're like, what are you talking about? And then Tigress is like, so you didn't talk to Shadowsan? And then Coach is just pissed. Because now it's like 99.999% confirmed that he's working with Carmen. She's all pissed off. They're like, uh-oh, we better untie Leshev, and he double-crossed us. Carmen and Shadowsan make their way back up the ladder. They get out of there. She's back up on now they're not underground anymore, so she's on players' radar now. She's like, yeah, I met an acquaintance, and we're on the run right now. We're being chased. We get it. There's no talking here in this next little section, but it's a nice little chase scene. It's very 007, spy thriller, where they're looking for them. They're running. They kind of catch eyes of them. They get on rooftops. They're jumping across things. It's just a really cool scene. And then the vistas, I like the big open shots that like show the whole city. Really, really cool. At the very first time I saw this show, I wasn't digging the look, but after, watching it for the season and getting here, I actually really do appreciate the art style, the angles, the way they use the simplistic art to show a bigger environment. It's really cool. I really like it. they keep chasing him, and they give the chef the slip, and they just kind of jump on the side of a bus and they use that to get away. We get back to V.I.L.E, and they don't know what to do. They're like, what the heck? Shadowsan, he was with us for all this time. Like, why would he turn on us? What sense does that make? Like, what's in it for him? What's he gaining from this? And we get confirmed that Carmen's 20 years old, because they're like, well, ever since Black Sheep showed up, maybe that's when he started to turn on us. And then, they're like, Maelstrom's like, that's a 20-year long con. That is a long, long time to like set the wheels in motion. I'm thinking what happened was, as he saved Carmen, and that just kind of softened his heart. But you're still being a bad guy. As he was raising her, he started realizing that she's innocent. She's all the goodness in the world I didn't think existed anymore, but it exists in this young woman, this young girl. And that kind of over time softened his heart and showed that there's more to the world than just stealing things and, strong arming people. So we don't know. I want to know if we're ever going to find out his whole backstory about why did he even get involved in all of this? Was it a family honor thing? Was it like, I would really like to know. But the V.I.L.E's like, well, if he's working with Carmen and Carmen's kind of working with A.C.M.E, V.I.L's in big trouble, because they know everything about us. Especially Shadowsan. He has intimate knowledge. We get back to Shadowsan and Carmen, and they're walking. And I like how Shadowsan's like, hey, I was trailing these guys. And of all the friggin' places you show up to this one. Like, there was like 100 other friggin' things in that hard drive, but you had to come to this one. And she's like, hey, if you would have just told me instead of just disappearing and said, hey, don't go to Rio de Janeiro, don't go to Rio. But, Shadowsan's he's flying solo. He does things on his own. And he's like, I had everything figured out, but you ran in there and you kind of busted it up. And when I saved you, I couldn't just like go in there and get you ninja style. I had to show up my face. I had to play it up because it was the only way to guarantee that I can get you back. So he did the right thing. Then he's like, hey, then I ran into these two kids that kind of blew my cover when I was watching, had eyes on the chef, and it's Ivy and Zach. And like, oh, who's this guy? They just assumed it was another V.I.L.E operative. And she's like, well, this is Shadowsan, Zach's like, oh, sweet, it's a ninja, man. It's so cool. And Ivy's like, you mean the guy that treated you like crap the whole time? She's like, oh, yeah, I kind of maybe mentioned you once or twice. So the only knowledge they have of Shadowsan is that he was an evil dude. But apparently, I guess he's a good guy now. And then we get a little comedy here. It's quick, it's fast, and it fits Zach's character. He's like, oh, I can't wait till you teach me all that cool ninja stuff. He's like trying to do like a karate move. And Shadowsan just blocks his attack. He's like, oh, my training has begun. It's light, it's cute, it's funny, and it moves on. This is how you do humor and comedy. Just little sprinkles. Let the action and drama drive the story. We get to A.C.M.E. We get to see Agent Argent, Julia, in her full getup. She's just cute as hell. But they have like A.C.M.E. approved eyewear. I like her round glasses. Okay, in the comments, do you like her new glasses or her old glasses? I like her old ones better. They're talking, and they're up there by the big statue of Jesus, and they're trying to say, hey, look, there's some surveillance camera footage. This is Carmen Sandiego. We can see her in her hang glider. And she's like, what do you think about this, Agent Argent? And she's like, she's been here for a while. Nothing's been stolen. Something must have went down, and she had to get there quickly, because why would she expose herself this way unless she had to? So Julia, she's got a sharp mind. I like her. She's really deductive. She's not willing, because she knows all the good things that Carmen did. Like, she has all these opportunities to do all these bad things, but she doesn't. So there has to be, she knows there's something more. We get to Chase, and damn, I feel bad for this guy. He's back at Interpol, and he's walking around, and this assistant guy, he's a little too detailed to be a know-nothing character. I mean, look at this guy, like he looks too important. He's like, oh, it's good to have you back, after your injury. And he's like, what injury? You fell in the hood of your car or whatever. And then that was like their excuse why he was gone from Interpol. He's like, don't worry about it. I'm ready to get back to work. Let's get some cases going. And he's like, well, here's your, office or whatever. And it's with all the paper pushers filing all these reports and everything. He's like, what do you mean? I'm a field agent. I'm an inspector. So he's like, no, this paperwork says you're working, you're a paper pusher now. You're like a clerk. And he's like, what? So he got demoted. Was that the chief's doing? Damn, chief. Did you have to do that? Did you really have to put him all the way at the bottom? I'm surprised they didn't make him the freaking janitor. That's so mean. I feel bad for Chase. But like I said in the first review, I mean, who's he got to blame? Himself, being too overzealous, crashing all those cars, letting bad guys go. If he would have just been smart, listen to his partner, he could have had everything. get back to Rio, and Carnival is going on. So we got fireworks, dancers, all the, the big parade floats. And we get a kind of, I like this scene because in season 1, I did a video of what I wanted to see in season 2. And I specifically said, I need Zach and Ivy to do things, to be more than just stand around idiots and like cause distractions. Here they work as a team and they figure it out. And they throw in some, edutainment. And it fits the world and why they would even be talking about it. This was, you could not put together something where it's like, okay, we got to move the plot forward. We got to make them work as a team, and we got to teach the kids some history. That's a tall order to do in a cartoon, and they did a really great job. So they're watching the Carnival, and they're like, hey, they got to move all that. It's like $500 million in freaking Alexandrite. So that's a ton of it. But how are they going to move it? And the buyer is in Prague. So they got to be able to get it somewhere, and they're not going to drive it there. They're like, hey, all these parade floats, and even Zach and I were kind of being idiots, but the way that they're talking, they're making sense. Like, hey, some of these boats can float. They're and they're like, oh yeah, they can get it out to the water, then transfer it to a bigger boat. Then that's what they're going to get it across. And they talk about how in World War II, in 1940s, and they talk about the Nazis. They don't say the Nazis, they say the Axis powers, but it's the Nazis. How they use these type of boats to storm the beaches, and how they did that like in Normandy and everything. But after the war was over, they had a surplus of these things. So they sold them to all a bunch of different kinds of countries and everything. And they're like, oh, they're going to use these type of boats because they can be on the ground because they have wheels and they can float. They're amphibious vehicles. And they all work together. And then, Carmen kind of gives Shadowsan the look like, hey, look, we worked as a team. Being alone sometimes is good, but having a team can be better. You're strong alone, stronger together. That's something Shadowsan is going to have to learn. Then they're like, wait, so we have to look out for one of these floats they're going to be using. And they talked about it being in the belly of the beast. And there's a big dragon that kind of veered off course and it's headed towards the water. So like, okay, that has to be the one. Ivy and Zach are doing they're running their side of the operation, and it's going to be Carmen and Shadowsan. She's like, okay, let's, take this ship. She turns around, Shadowsan took off. Yeah, doofus, why did you do that? But he wants to do everything in his own. I think he's trying to protect Carmen, but she's a woman that can protect herself. She's not a little girl anymore. But, I think he still has those feelings, and he's also used to doing everything on his own. He learns that it's better to work as a team. So this big dragon thing actually looks pretty cool. It makes it to the water, and they're like, okay, we have to watch out for Carmen. She could be attacking at any moment. Shadowsan, being the master ninja that he is, sneaking up on Mole. He's piloting the boat. Is it driving or it's driving the boat. Captaining the boat. And he's about to, sneak attack him. He's going to get the stealth kill. But, this is Carmen, and this is like from the trailer where she like swoops in and just like ninja kicks him off the thing. But it causes a huge ruckus. Then you start fighting about it. He's like, again, you blown my cover. I was invisible to them. But she's like, we work as a team. Why'd you disappear? Why'd you run off? Boom. Big fight ensues because Tigress and LeChevre are still there. And I like this. This fight scene is pretty good. It fits into the world of spy thrillers, action movies. And, like I said before, Carmen, she does better in this fight, but she also, it's not, you see Shadowsan, it's an unfair fight. This dude's a master ninja. But when Tigress fights Carmen, it's an equal fight, and we really don't know who's going to win. I love that in our battles when we can watch it and like wonder what's going to happen. In other cartoons, we just know like when She-Ra fights something, she's going to win every single time because she's so powerful. This fight scene blows every fight scene out of She-Ra out of the water. Shadowsan is fighting LeChevre, and they end up getting a sword. But Shadowsan's so good, he's just like, he's dancing around these guys. Even so it's 2-on-1 because Maul's back up, he grabs the sword, and he's fighting both of them kind of easily, but that's expected for a master ninja. We get to the fight with Tigress and Carmen. Carmen, I'm assuming these bricks aren't full-on bricks because she like straight up hit her in the face a couple times with a brick. That would kill you. So I'm assuming these are like, because it was a parade float, so it's probably made from like crappy materials. But Carmen using her environment, using things around her to fight, not necessarily just hand to hand. Pretty cool. Lots of acrobatics, lots of dodging and moving. That's where Carmen's strength is. It's not in full-on frontal attacks. attacking from the sides, from moments of opportunity, getting positions of weakness. That's where her strength is. So they keep fighting, get back to Shadowsan, and Mo fight. He ends up getting a sword. Shadowsan has a sword now. Nah. You guys are not going to last. He ends up getting both their swords away from them, and he has them both like at throat with both swords. Dual wielding. Shadowsan's a badass. Carmen's struggling. She's getting hit. She's getting knocked around. But Tigress, being overzealous, takes a swing at her, gets her claw stuck in the wheel, and Carmen knocks her off the boat. So, she wins. They force Mole and Leshev off the boat, and now they have all the Alexandrite. They turn the boat around, but they're like, hey, we got to do something with all this Alexandrite. We can't just walk around with it. Player was securing a... This is the only real silly part in the whole entire episode. I guess they have a whole bunch of different parade floats that are just like in storage. And there's one that's like a big rubber ducky, so they just cover it up so they can disappear amongst all the other boats. Silly, but okay, I'll take it. When these boats are coming in, it actually looks really cool, like the angles and everything. But since they, disguise the boat, they can't find it. Tigress calls in. She's like, yeah, Shadowsan is working with Carmen. He fought us. It's 100%. He's on their side. And Maelstrom's like, how did you lose track of a gigantic boat and like a dragon on it? Like, how could you lose it? But, they did, so they're going to get a punishment. Remember how Crackle got his mind wiped because he screwed up? I mean, they screwed up just as much. Are they going to do that too? We get back to the boat, and Zach and Ivy, being idiots, are just celebrating. They're just being like young adults or being idiots. And Carmen's like, hey, this is my crew. And then even Shadowsan kind of gives her like okay, I understand, it worked. Working as a team was better than working alone. But they decided, well, what are we going to do with all this Alexandrite? We got to do something with it. And there's another thing I thought was weird, because it goes to the next morning, and that family that helped her out, and they talked about doing community things. And so they basically like wrote them a check or gave them access to a bank account that has $500 million or $500 million with this stuff, and she gave that little girl like a big old chunk of Alexandrite. Hopefully these people are good. They take the money and we're getting the hell out of here. They just go to America. Screw this Rio place. But who do they sell it to? So did they sell it to the buyers? Aren't the buyers the bad guys too? Like, how did they move this in one night? It's a little detail. They kind of skip it, but whatever. We get to the next morning, and they're sitting at a cafe, and it's Carmen's talking with Shadowsan, and she's like, oh, I guess this caper's over, and what's next? And even Shadowsan's like, I don't know what's next. And she's like, hey, we're both thieves. We're gonna probably run into each other, get in each other's way. Maybe we just stick together. You go part of my team. And Shadowsan, reluctantly, he kind of agrees, but she tells him, it's my team. I know you don't like Zach and Ivy and Player because they're kids or whatever, but they know what they're doing, and I trust them. And if you're going to be part of this team, you got to trust them too. I like that. She stood up for her teammates. She stood up for her crew. That's cool. I thought this was, I don't know. Is Shadowsan telling the truth? Is it a lie of omission? Because she's like, also, there's no secrets. And he's like, I had a mission to find, to go to Rio. I found an abandoned girl, which was you. That wasn't my mission, but I found you and I brought you back to the island. And that's all I can say. I remember in my my video about what I wanted to see, I talked about Shadowsan, and I'm like, was he sent to kill Carmen Sandiego's parents? And he did. And there was a baby, and he couldn't bring himself to kill the baby. How for him, he's like, so this whole time he's trying to make up for that. I'll raise her. I'll make sure she's taken care of. But he still killed her parents. That's such a cool dynamic, because what does Carmen do? They're like friends now, but if he's the one who caused her to be abandoned in the first place to get her all caught up in this whole thing with V.I.L.E, like, what do you do with that? That's really cool drama, but that's just me. That's my prediction. I think that would be really cool, but would they do that in a kid's cartoon? I don't know. Or what if her parents were bad guys and they were working for V.I.L.E and they had to be taken care of because they were like skimming off the top or something? I don't know. My mind's going all over the place. I also kind of really like the little speech he gives to Carmen about, I brought this girl to the island and she did the impossible.
I was on the island living a lie, while you, a child, achieved the unthinkable by forging your own path. You paved the way for me to follow in your footsteps. Without any question, it is I who am the student and you the master.
He probably felt that his whole life was decided for him. And once he saw Carmen doing that, he's like, you gave me the strength to want to forge my own path as well. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And, you know, in most movies when something, or TV shows when this happens, it's stupid and it makes no sense. And it's like, okay, why would this guy look up to this girl this whole time? But they took a whole season and everything behind it to build up to this moment. So it actually has weight. It actually has, you know, it actually made my heart go, oh, that's so, because he cares about her and he finds strength in her. He finds courage in her. And he's like, you're like the teacher. You know, I taught you all this, but you also taught me that it's more important to choose your own way. I love that. That is so awesome. So they have this mutual respect for each other, and that makes the best teams. And they're sitting there, and she's like, yeah, you see them, right? And he's like, yeah, I see them. And of course, it's the A.C.M.E agents. And they make ID. They see Carmen, Julia. They start chasing after her. And I love this stuff. They don't explain how it works, but it's just cool Batman stuff that's just awesome. They're half a street away. Truck comes by, boom, Shadowsan and Carmen are gone. They're like, where do they go? I just love that kind of stuff. But it puts a dent because A.C.M.E still thinks Carmen is working with V.I.L.E. They got a good look at Shadowsan's face. They matched it up with the police sketch that Chase gave. Do you still think Carmen's not working for V.I.L.E? Because this is a perfect match. And then Julia's like, she has that look on her face like, damn, maybe she is. So it's kind of like she's a little, because her gut. Earlier in episode 1, the chief told her, you need to you have a detective mind. Trust your mind, not your gut. You got to use both. It's like heart and mind. You got to work together. She knows in her heart that Carmen isn't bad, but all the evidence is pointing the other way. So I don't know. Does Julia go hardcore in on Carmen and let go of whatever sentiment she had for her? We get to Chase, and he's working, just doing stamping paperwork and just doing that kind of stuff. He sees one of those pens and he thinks, oh, it could be like an A.C.M.E pen. It's nothing. It's just a regular pen, and it just ends with him with another stack of paperwork. Great. Another excellent episode. My only two complaints really were, how the hell did they move all that Alexandrite in one night and get that money to those people? The duck thing. It's silly, but okay, I guess it works. But little minor things. But everything else, the action, the drama, everything between Carmen and Shadowsan, is he telling the whole truth? I know everyone already watched every freaking episode. It's not even been out a complete day yet. And everyone already watched every episode. You guys, come on. But for those who are following along and watching at a leisurely pace, do you really think that Shadowsan, did he do something horrible to Carmen's parents? I kind of hope he does, because it just makes that relationship so weird, and I love that kind of stuff. But stay tuned for episode 3, and hopefully it's as good as the first 2, because we got an excellent season so far.
Oh, yeah. I've got 2 left feet. Hey.
Crimson Sin here. Thanks for watching the video. If you're enjoying the content, be sure to sub, like, share, and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss a single upload. If you have any tips or story ideas, hit us up on Twitter at C15 Podcast, or better yet, join our Discord server, link in the description below.